Hello everyone, welcome to this exclusive open session of our upcoming PSIR optional batch for UPSC 2025 starting this August 26th. 2025 admissions are open. You can enroll now and it is one of the most important part of our UPSC examination optional, which carries 500 marks, which also determines our merit in UPSC examination, and it plays very important role in UPSC examination with respect to rank as well as selection in final stage. So Legacy IAS Academy is coming up with its new optional batch, that is PSIR optional. सभी लोग पूरा साल वेट करते हैं, तो अब 25 to 26 के एडमिशंस की लाइंस ओपन है। जल्द से जल्द एनरोल करिए, रजिस्टर करिए। तो आज के इस सेशन में, इस ओपन सेशन में हम कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट चीजों की बात करेंगे और सबसे जो इंपॉर्टेंट इशू है that is one nation one election. जी हाँ, we are diving into one of the most debated and high stake reforms in India's political discourse, that is one nation one election. And this is not just an administrative proposal, let me tell you, it is a constitutional, federal, ethical as well as political conundrum. So it questions about the balance of power between the center and state, and it also challenges the very design of democratic accountability. Apart from this, this one nation, one election, it offers a test case of how far India can go in reimagining its electoral machinery. And that is why I have chosen this topic. तो जो लोग इस साल का मेंस दे रहे हैं, अभी प्रीलिम्स खत्म हुआ है, जो लोग इस साल का मेंस दे रहे हैं उनके लिए भी ये टॉपिक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. दैट इज वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन. One nation, one election. Now, how you should study this particular topic in PSIR optional subject. And that is why we have chosen this topic, and not just to inform you, but to train you to think like a UPSC topper. Why? Because cracking PSIR is not about the mugging up thinkers, scholars, theories. It is about applying them critically to the real world development. That is the demand of UPSC. So if you have ever wondered why frequent elections are both democratic and disruptive, second, how one nation, one election can save crores but cost federalism, and what the framers of the constitution might say about how it is important or why it is important today. So then stay with us. This session could change the way you look at the political science. So today we are going to discuss about one nation, one election that is transforming India's democratic framework. जी हाँ, कैसे ये एक चीज इंडिया के डेमोक्रेटिक फ्रेमवर्क को पूरी तरीके से चेंज कर सकती है. अब एक रफ आइडिया पहले समझो इजी वे में. व्हाट इज द बिग आइडिया हियर? Right now in India, elections happen all the time, somewhere or the other. Lok Sabha, state assemblies, panchayat, etc. And it feels like India is always in election mode. That is why from here the idea one nation, one election comes. Now, this idea one nation, one election, this idea says let's hold all the elections at the same time across the whole country. Simple, right? But this idea can completely change how India runs its democracy. जी हाँ. Now let's try to understand India's electoral framework, one of the largest and most vibrant in the world. And it has undergone the significant evolution since the first general elections, which happened in 1952, first general elections. in 1952. Okay. Now, initially, simultaneous elections for the Lok Sabha as well as state assemblies were the norm. However, political and administrative disruptions over the years have fragmented the electoral calendar, which led to the frequent elections. Now, that is why the proposal for one nation, one election comes, which advocates the synchronization of election across the country, and it aims to streamline the electoral process, and also it reduce the cost. It can enhance the governance efficiency as well. Now, अब अगर हम क्विक फ्लैशबैक की बात करें, नाउ just have a quick look. So what was the situation initially? So if I take from 1952 to 1967, these years are very important initially. So India started off with all elections happening together. Then from 1967 came political drama. That means governments fell early, states got reorganized, and elections started happening at different times. Now it feels like an election every few months, somewhere or the other. So what is the historical context? So first we need to understand in this topic is historical context. Now, what is the historical context? What if in mains they ask in PSIR? So, you can take the two scenarios. One, from 1952 to 67, another stage post 1967. Got it? Now, during this phase, 1952 to 67, simultaneous polls were the norm. And post 1967, what happened? Post 1967, political instability which led to the staggered election. So, yahan se started staggered election. Clear? And here simultaneous. So our PSIR classroom lectures will also help you in creating the mind maps or short notes for your revision. And also Legacy IAS Academy has full-fledged material for PSIR, and after that you no need to read any of the books. कोई भी बुक PSIR के लिए पढ़ने की जरूरत नहीं है, क्योंकि हमारा जो मटेरियल है that is taken from different books. Okay, one book is having around 400 to 500 pages. So holistic material we are providing with this optional subject. Now, when we see from 1950 to 67, it was a unified start. See, in the early years of India's democracy, simultaneous elections for the Lok Sabha as well as state assemblies were conducted to ensure the efficiency and a cohesive democratic process. Then, post 1967, disruption and fragmentation started. From here, disruptions and fragmentation started. Now, because of this disruption and fragmentation, political instability came, midterm dissolutions, as well as reorganization of the state in the late 1960s. Now, because of these reasons, these things disrupted the synchronized electoral cycle, which led to the staggered and frequent elections. Now, apart from this, there are some governance challenges. Now, what are the governance challenge of this? अब governance challenge क्या क्या है? Governance challenges. Now, what are the governance challenges? First thing is governance slows down. जी हाँ. Now here the first important challenge, governance slows down. When elections are on, the model code of conduct kicks in, so government work get paused. Then money drain. Money drain. How? See, elections are expensive, security, staff, logistic, everything. Then endless campaigns. Politicians, they busy with rallies instead of running the country. Clear? So political campaigns. Politicians, they start busy with their rallies instead of running the country. Then fake news. जी हाँ, fake news spread. Now, how fake news spread? Longer campaigns, more time for the misinformation and hate speech online. Then, because of too many elections, voter fatigue. Voter fatigue. Now, people, they get tired of voting too often. That is why increasing fragmentation as states began holding the elections independently, India transitioned to an almost continuous electoral cycle. है ना, हर साल कहीं ना कहीं इलेक्शन हो रहे हैं. And for instance, 2024 elections. So 2024 witnessed election in 5 major states, which underscored the fragmented schedule. And that is why governance disruption. Now, frequent imposition of the model code of conduct, it halts the policy implementation. It starts delaying the developmental projects, and also it adversely impact the governance. Now there are challenges of multi-phase and frequent elections. बहुत सारे challenges हैं इसमें. Now, what can be the challenges? Now, if you take the challenges, so there are multi-phase challenges, and it also creates the financial strain on the exchequer. How? Logistical overload. जी हाँ, money drain process, logistical overload. Now, in this logistical overload. Now, how logistical overload? Conducting elections in multiple phases, it requires deploying significant resources, including paramilitary forces, polling personnel, as well as you need extra infrastructure. Then economic burden is also there. Now, frequent elections strain the national exchequer with the recurring expenses on like security, logistic, administrative processes. Now, जब इतने ज्यादा इलेक्शंस होंगे, so voter fatigue will be there. Political campaign, अब extended campaign, multi-phase elections such as 7-phase in 2024 जो election was 7-phase elections it was. So multi-phase elections like 7-phase election of 2024, and let me tell you, if you write real-time example in UPSC examination, you are going to fetch good marks. So we are going to tell you the real-time example, and we will make you apply each and every theory with respect to current events. Now, multi-phase elections, I was talking about the multi-phase election, like 7-phase happened in 2024. 2024 general election happened in 7-phase, and that has taken months and months, which led to the voter fatigue, and also it reduced the administrative efficiency. Then, apart from this, if you see the situation, general elections happen and result comes in May to June. Now, during this period in North India, heat waves comes, है ना? So weather related challenges are also there. Extreme conditions during the polling such as the heat waves. Now these have caused the casualties among the voters and the polling officials. Then fake news spread. That means amplification of misinformation. What is the role of social media here? Now, prolonged electoral timelines provide a fertile ground for the spread of fake news, hate speeches, and also AI manipulated political ads, which also influence the voter perception, as well as these things also exacerbate the communal tensions. तो इन सभी ये सारे challenges हैं, governance challenges. That is why we need one nation, one election. That is why there is a need for one nation, one election. Now, what can be the benefits of one nation, one election? पहला benefit क्या होगा? It is going to save money. Now, remember this thing, that this is going to save money. It will save money. The first important thing. Okay. Now, how? One big election instead of many small ones. So that is going to save the cost as well as expenditure. Then apart from this, the governance model, no constant model code of conduct. So that is not going to take the that will not resulted into the governance disruption. Then more voter interest. People turn up when it's single and focused election. Then cleaner campaigns, less time for the fake news and divisive politics, because one nation, one election, all the elections will happen at the same time. Then national plus state dialogue. Voters hear both national as well as local issues together at the same time. So these can be considered as a you can say a potential advantages of one nation, one election. तो सबसे पहली चीज क्या है? Cost saving, save money, because this is going to reduce the expenditure. Okay. So this is going to reduce the expenditure. This will reduce the expenditure. Okay. Now just try to understand, synchronizing elections can significantly reduce the financial burdens by eliminating the redundant administrative as well as security expenses. Then another important thing is streamline operations. Now streamline operations. Now how streamlined operations? So let me tell you that a single electoral cycle, this optimizes the resource utilization as well as also reduces the duplication of efforts. It is going to reduce the duplication of efforts. Then another important thing here is, now this is going to enhance the governance. Enhanced governance. Now how enhanced governance? So let me tell you, uninterrupted polity implementation will be there. That means synchronization minimizes the model code of conduct, which induce delays, and also allowing government to focus on long-term policies as well as developmental projects. Then apart from this, campaign consolidation. In this, campaign consolidation. Now how campaign consolidation? So now leaders can concentrate on governance instead of continuous electioneering, है ना? वो किस पे फोकस कर सकते हैं? Continuous work. Cohesive political discourse will be there. That means aligning regional as well as national priorities. Now these things are going to encourage the holistic discussion on governance. Now this one nation, one election will also benefit. Now, this is all going to benefit in combating misinformation. Now, combating misinformation. How combating misinformation? Now, first of all, जब सारे इलेक्शन सेम टाइम पर होंगे, then it is going to create the short campaign period. So the first important thing here is it will shorten campaign period. Okay. Now, a condensed timeline curtails the window for the fake news as well as communal narratives. Now, this ensures a more informed electorate. Okay. Now, apart from this, what are the challenges and concerns which are associated with one nation, one elections? Now, what can be the challenges which are associated with one nation, one election? Now, what can be the challenges? First, many scholars says that this can impact the federalism, impact on federalism. Now, how it's going to impact federalism? अब बहुत सारे लीगल एक्सपर्ट ने कहा दिस इज गोइंग टू डाइल्यूट द स्टेट इश्यूज, डाइल्यूशन ऑफ स्टेट इश्यूज. जी हाँ, सो इट कैन डाइल्यूट state issues. Now, how? See, national narrative could overshadow the region specific concerns, and it can also reduce the focus on state level priorities. Now, another important thing here is marginalization of regional parties. Now, marginalization of regional parties. Now, smaller parties, they fear being overshadowed by the dominant national players during the synchronized elections. Another important thing here is democratic accountability. Another challenge. Democratic accountability. Now, how democratic accountability? So, let's try to understand the democratic accountability. पहली चीज इसमें आएगी, इट कैन रिड्यूस द करेक्टिव मैकेनिज्म्स. जी हाँ, इट कैन रिड्यूस द करेक्टिव मैकेनिज्म्स. Now, how it can reduce the corrective mechanisms? है ना? Let me tell you, fixed electoral cycles, it may lock states into the prolonged tenures, which is under the ineffective governance and limiting the voters' ability to express the dissatisfaction in the midterm. Then apart from this, there are logistical as well as legal hurdles also. Now, logistical and legal hurdles. Now, how logistical and legal hurdles? Now, first of all, constitutional amendments are required. है ना? सबसे जरूरी चीज क्या है? Constitutional amendments. Now, constitutional amendments are required. Like, अब एक चीज समझिएगा, आर्टिकल 83, Article 172 and addition of Article 82A. It needs revisions to align electoral cycles. 3 articles important. ओके ये याद रखिएगा कौन कौन से अभी मैंने आपको बताया आर्टिकल 83, आर्टिकल 172 and the third article is 82A. Okay, so addition, this, that is addition. So addition of article 82A needs revision to align the electoral cycle. Another important thing here is with respect to logistical, okay, another important thing here is the operational complexity. Operational complexity. Okay, now how operational complexity? See, ensuring simultaneous election for over 900 million voters across diverse geographies, it poses immense logistical challenges. Okay, this is one of the huge challenge. Then another important thing, another important challenge is institutional, as you can see here. So another important challenge is institutional independence. Institutional independence. Now how अगर हम institutional independence की बात करें, so centralized control concerns are there. कैसे? Now try to understand under this. Centralized control concerns. Now how centralized control concerns? A unified system could lead to the perceptions of partisanship. It also undermines the independence of institutions like Election Commission of India. Okay. Apart from this, there are various key provisions as well as global parallels. Now, so what are the key provisions as well as global parallels? So I hope this much is clear to all of you, है ना? ये सभी को समझ में आ गया होगा with respect to challenges, है ना? So challenges that are associated with the one nation, one election. So this is how we are going to understand each and everything like complex issues in a very simple format. Okay. Now, the key provisions as well as global parallels. So what are the provisions in one nation, one election proposals? So what are the provisions first of all? In one nation, one election proposal. So what are the key provisions? So first try to understand. So first thing is constitutional safeguard. Constitutional safeguards. How? See, recommendations include the balance. So there are various recommendations which include the balanced period elections so that they can maintain the synchronization even if assembly dissolves prematurely. Okay. Second, there is a need for unified voter list. Now, unified voter list. A single voter list across all the election simplifies the processes as well as enhances the transparency. Now, there are some global comparisons. Now, what are those global comparisons? Now, what are those global comparisons? So, in PSIR, you have to give the examples from different countries. So, here you can give the example of two countries, that is South Africa and Sweden. South Africa and Sweden. Okay. Now, these nations conduct simultaneous election. ये जो nations हैं South Africa and Sweden, they conduct the simultaneous election, which reduce their cost and also enhancing the governance stability. So India can also adapt these similar models to address its unique federal challenges. Another important thing what India can do, India's local reforms. जी हाँ. Now, India's local reforms. How? So, the success of 73rd and 74th amendments in enhancing the representation at the panchayat level, that demonstrates the feasibility of these structural reforms in India. So, what are the recommendations for effective implementation of transitional measures? तो अब इफेक्टिवली इसको कैसे इंप्लीमेंट किया जाए, इसके लिए क्या क्या रिकमेंडेशंस दिए गए हैं, है ना? हाउ इट कैन इंप्लीमेंट इफेक्टिवली. सो लेट्स ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड दी recommendations. Okay, so recommendation for effective implementation. How? First thing is clustered election. Now, clustered elections. How? See, gradually align state and national polls by grouping elections over time. Second, local body alignment. Now, how local body alignment? Synchronize the municipal as well as panchayat elections within 100 days of general elections. ये recommendation दिए गए. Then enhancing the accessibility. अब कैसे accessibility को enhance किया जाए? Now, how enhancing accessibility? So, let's try to understand this. First thing is polling facilities. Now, establish polling booths at accessible locations like आशा centers, colleges. यहाँ पर क्या बनाया जाए? Polling booths बनाया जाए. Then support for migrants. Now, introduce a special travel initiatives such as reduce fare trains to facilitate voting for migrant workers ताकि लोग वोट देने आए, voting percentage increase हो. Then technological integration. Now, technological integration. How? So remember this thing. टेक्नोलॉजी को इंटीग्रेट करने के लिए सबसे जरूरी चीज है डिजिटल टूल्स. Implement technology for multi-location voting and real-time monitoring should be there. Also with streamlined voter registration. Then strengthened oversight. Now strengthened oversight. Now empower election commission. Here what government can do? Government can bolster the election commission's capacity to address the challenges like misinformation, vote buying, while ensuring the institutional independence. So overall, these are the possible recommendations. So ये जो आज हमने टॉपिक डिस्कस किया, दैट इज वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन. This is not only important for your current, this is also important for upcoming 2025 PSIR optional paper, that is UPSC mains this year. UPSC mains 2025 current issue है, but you have to link with the traditional knowledge theories of PSIR. Okay, so one nation one election is a bold and exciting idea. It can save money, it can reduce chaos, and it can also help the governments to work better, but it must be done carefully, respecting India's diverse states, voices, as well as federal structures. So if this is done right, then India could become a global model for smart and modern democracy. So the proposal for one nation one election offers a transformative vision for India's democratic framework, and by reducing cost, enhancing governance efficiency, and fostering voter engagement, one nation one election address the key challenges in India's electoral system. And however, its implementation actually must be balanced. Administrative efficiency should be there, and administrative efficiency with federal principles, inclusivity, as well as logistical feasibility. So through phased reforms, inclusive dialogues, as well as technological integration, India can successfully transition into a unified electoral cycle. And as the world's largest democracy deliberates on this historic initiative, it has the potential to set a global benchmark for electoral innovation, reinforcing the essence of participatory democracy while ensuring stability and efficiency in governance. So overall, when the thing that we have discussed, that is one nation, one election, it is not just a policy shift, it is a civilizational debate on how India chooses to be governed. On the one hand, we see promises of efficiency, cost reduction, as well as governance stability. And on the other hand, concerns over the federal dilution, regional voice suppression, as well as institutional centralization loom large. So, as serious PSIR aspirants, this is your training ground, not just to know both the sides, but to understand what lies beneath the philosophical roots of democracy. Here you can also include the theories of democracy. Here, the philosophical roots of constitutional design of federalism and the political strategies that shape reforms in India. So this is exactly what we will be mastering in our full-fledged PSIR optional course, topic by topic, thinker by thinker, issue by issue, with answer writing, and also Legacy IAS इस साल फ्री मेंटोरशिप दे रहा है PSIR ऑप्शनल कोर्स के साथ. तो जो हमारा PSIR ऑप्शनल कोर्स इस बार लेते हैं उन्हें टेस्ट सीरीज एंड मेंटोरशिप फ्री मिलेगी. Also, so mentorship as well as current affairs integration like never before. So if today's session sparked a thought, challenged your assumptions, or made you see policy from new lens, then imagine what 4 months to 5 months of structured learning will do. So join our PSIR optional batch, which is going to start from 26th of August 2025. And don't just prepare for the exam, prepare to become a public thinker, analyst, as well as future policy maker. Because in UPSC and in life, it is not about choosing what to think, but learning how to think. Okay, so this is about our course. So registration lines are open now. Registration lines open हो चुकी हैं. You can enroll now and you can call on this number. आप इस नंबर पर कॉल भी कर सकते हैं. ये नंबर दिया हुआ है यहां पर. You can call or either WhatsApp for more information 9606900004, and you can follow for current videos as well as conceptual video Legacy IAS Academy YouTube channel, and you can also follow for more information and PDF short notes, mains notes for your exam. That is our Twitter account Legacy_IAS. तो आप इस पर हमें फॉलो कर सकते हैं. अब एक चीज याद रखिए कि बैच शुरू होगा 26 अगस्त से. 4 आवर्स की क्लासेस होंगी 3 डेज इन अ वीक, और उन्हीं क्लासेस में आपको हर एक स्टडी मटेरियल, शॉर्ट नोट्स कैसे बनाना है, माइंड मैप, ये सारी चीजें आपको सिखाई जाएंगी. सो होलिस्टिक वे ऑफ लर्निंग विल बी देयर. सो थैंक यू सो मच.